I, like most other people, like to get new stuff, from new running shoes to new video game headset, all the way to new seasonal depression. It can be really hard to go back to old things when you have a bunch of new stuff on the horizon, and video games are one of the worst culprits of this, as my entire backlog gets pushed to the side to make room for a game I didn't even care about 2 weeks ago. But allow me to let you in on a little secret. Come here. Ah! The secret was actually that your video game backlog is like a fine wine, and I, Blurbs, am the guy who knows a lot about the wine pairings, what to put with the food.
That's a sommelier.
Yeah, that guy. So today, allow me to be your backlog sommelier. Hey you there, are your cells feeling a little dead? No, they feel pretty good, honestly. Well then try this Dead Cells wine, which pairs nicely with this brown banana that has a broken stem. Dead Cells' vibe always had me intrigued, but I used to fear its daunting gameplay gauntlet. But after conquering Hades, I think that probably at some point with a lot of work, I could best Dead Cells, which has encouraged me to come back even though the game had wrecked me on my first run. And while I'm still working away at getting past the final boss, I've had a ton of fun on my revisitation of it. The combat is one of the most satisfying systems there is, and the game in general is really good to just vibe out to, as it's pretty simple all the way up until it isn't. With tons of cute references, fun buildcraft, and crunchy gameplay mechanics, I honestly can't recommend Dead Cells enough, and my gaming experience is all the more thankful for it. Have you ever wanted a wine that allows you to step into the mind of a telepathic child? No. Oh. Are you sure? Psychonauts 2 is like a nice rosé, as it mixes parts of serious and thoughtful games with the silly humor of a whimsical 3D platformer. It's the perfect palate cleanser as it refreshes both sides. If you want something that's a little more thoughtful, it has that in droves as you delve into the minds of those around Rasputin, seeing what has broken them and how you can aid in putting them back together. And if you want something funny, the humor is literally non-stop in this game, from side-busting puns to hilarious gags like playing pill pachinko. I restarted Psychonauts 2 right after finishing Tears of the Kingdom, and it helped to remind me of the power that a condensed linear experience can hold, and I'm really grateful for it. Finally, Hollow Knight is the barefoot wine of video games, as at first it might be slightly unappealing, but after half a box or so, it becomes quite tolerable. I had booted Hollow Knight up in an attempt to like it so many times, but eventually it broke through. It was never the art or the music or the style that pushed me away from it, but always just that difficulty and the feeling of lostness. It's the main reason I didn't include it in my best game for beginners in every genre video, as its skin is really thick. If you haven't played a Metroidvania before, Hollow Knight is almost impossible to play, but once you have your bearings down, it is by far the best. If it weren't for its excellent style, I probably wouldn't have kept re-downloading it, but I'm so glad that that style appealed to me and brought me back, because the game is incredibly well designed. And while at first it may be obtuse, once you've broken through those layers, you fall in love with the way it weaves and buckles in on itself, the way its Metroidvania gameplay mechanics open up new paths to places unseen. It may have taken me years to finally get to it, but the wait was absolutely worth it. Well, those were my backlog wine suggestions for the day, and I plan on doing this more in the future. And yes, before you ask, that was the Hades sound effect, and yes, I have no shame. You're not going to click to every game immediately, but there are plenty of experiences out there worth giving a second chance. I think Psychonauts 2, Dead Cells, and Hollow Knight are some of the best games I've played in the last few years, and I almost miss them because they didn't immediately click. It's good to go back and give things another chance, as they may have a different pop this second time around.